Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Force Strategy Gaming. Time once again for some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today we will be watching a game between SjoW and I Am Horror. Down over here in the lower left-hand spawn position, I Am Horror spawning as our red Zerg player. And then in the upper right-hand spawn location, we've got SjoW as the blue Terran player. So yes, my friends, this is going to be a Terran versus Zerg, SjoW versus Horror. And yeah, just a single game. Now, starting things off, Horror will be sending that Overlord down to the right, it looks like. Yes, going down to the right first, and then rallying up right below that expansion. And that is of course, going to be used for scouting later on in the game. Just going to be chilling out with him there for now. And nice and safe, too. That Overlord's going to make it there without any question, no problems whatsoever. So yeah, there you go, pretty awesome. SjoW actually decided not to wall off initially, as he is building his first depot here right next to his command center. Benefits to this is that he'll be able to get right back to mining very, very shortly. Of course, the major downside is that he won't have that wall off up nearly as early. So we will have to see how he decides to deal with that. He is likely to build a wall off regardless. It looks like he's going to be, yes, pulling down here for that barracks, but not building that first supply depot again, just to be a little bit closer to that resource line and get off a couple of extra gathers there from an SCV before he drops it. We'll be seeing a drone scout move out right now for Horror. At the same time, back at home, he's going to be in close to drop in the supply depot, or is he going to go hatch first? I don't know. Why would I say supply depot? I meant spawning pool, but he will be going hatch first instead, so not going pool first, deciding to open things up there with the 16 hatchery and then drop a pool after the fact. SCV now engaging with the drone, as the drone was doing a little bit of harass there to the SCV building that barracks. And then we also notice, of course, that there is a refinery coming on through here for SjoW. So far, relatively standard opener with that 10 depot, 12 racks, and a 13 refinery. Drone trying to be a nuisance and delaying mining there from an SCV, even if it's just momentarily. And then after this, he should be heading out, unless he decides to go and steal the gas. We'll have to keep an eye to see whether or not he does end up doing that. Back over here, Horror now just dropping the spawning pool hatchery, getting close to 50% of the way finished over there. And there is that drone doing what he can to harass, and yes, goes straight for the extractor. And this is going to force those Marines to stay back at home to try to get rid of this, as opposed to possibly doing some early game aggression. Very interesting though, as we are seeing a very quick reactor here from SjoW, so we'll be pumping out those Marines very, very heavy early on. You can see he has pulled all of his guys off that refinery, and as such, this is going to allow him to actually go out with an expansion. So we'll be Marine heavy quick expand here that we'll be seeing from SjoW. And I actually do wonder, I'm not sure if he's even got any scouting done yet. Yeah, no, he has not scouted Horror at all, so he is not sure as to what Horror's build is at the moment. Has gone back to mining some gas there from that refinery and once more pumping out double Marines. And the drone, a little worried that something's going on, wants to scout, and does he get it? Oh, I don't think he saw that. I don't think he saw the attachment. No, he did. So close, just barely missed that attachment there. That's what he was looking for. Interesting depot placement, actually. I don't know why that's not right here. I assume that the depot, it was meant to be placed in this position. Really not sure why he dropped it there. Not sure if that was a mistake or if he plans to finish this wall off with something else, but that's not even, that doesn't do anything. Oh, that was awful, because there's even space right here for units to get through. That was pretty terrible placement there from SjoW. That must have been a mistake. Marines gathering up here at the Zelnaga Tower. Taking a look back over here for Horror. He will be droning up right now. All guys off the extractor. Metabolic boost coming through. Just really focused right now on getting a strong economy. He would be sitting with just these two Zerglings and pushing out to get some scouting done. Grabbing that first tower. Marines moving to the other side. And ooh, there's going to be some early Marine pressure. I'm really not sure that Horror is going to be aware of this until it's knocking at his front door. That's a little scary. As you can see, he's droning up very hard right now. These Marines could actually do a little bit of pressure, as there's not a lot of larvae here left for Horror. However, with that first spine, that's enough. First spine forcing him back. The one Zergling did get shot there by the Marines at the front and then pulling all the way back. These Marines continuing to dance around, actually checking for the possibility of a quick third. Also probably trying to see if they can do some Overlord hunting. However, all the Overlords are safe right now from Marines, so no major concerns for them at all, at least for now. Marines will likely be heading back home very soon, as we are getting to the point in the game where that Zergling count will start to get higher and higher. However, at the exact same time, we're going to be seeing that transition there into Hellions, double Hellions coming out of that reactor, and another expansion as SjoW attempts to go for a very quick third. Now with these Hellions in play, this is going to make it so that SjoW is going to have map control at least for the next couple of minutes, until we get some overwhelming Ling numbers or some Mutas and or Roaches in play. So right now, map control going to SjoW with these Hellions, and he's got more and more Hellions coming out, also preparing for a transition into more bio-heavy, as he is coming out with 2 more barracks over here. Ling's pushing away for the threat of those 2 Hellions is a bit too much. However, with 22 Speedlings, he will have enough to overwhelm this small amount of Hellions, so long as he gets his positioning right. Hellions continuing to be churned out here of this factory with the reactor. And seeing no starport yet, he's going to be waiting a little bit while longer. I think he's probably going to go for upgrades for that bio before he works his way up a new starport. I could be wrong, but that is going to be my assumption right now. Good creep spread here that we're seeing from Horror. Definitely like that. One thing that is really notable on this map is that a lot of times you use those initial 4 to 6 Hellions to contain. However, on this map, there are 2 exits there for the Zerg player, as you can see. And as a result, those Speedlings will be pushing straight towards that natural expansion for a counterattack. And they're going to do a bit of damage, getting us around there on the Hellions. So right now, SjoW knows this is coming. And as a result, he's going to be pulling back, gathering up his forces, and getting ready for it. And here we go. Speedlings trying to engage. 1 Hellion going to be laying down a lot of splash damage on those Lings. Nice surround with the Lings and just tearing through the Marines. However, there are just enough there to take care of it, but he really thinned up that Marine count. That's actually pretty big for Horror. Why is that pretty big? Well, you got to keep in mind, looks like we will be seeing Speedling, Baneling, Muta here from Horror, and dropping those Marine numbers really going to help once he gets those Mutalists in play. So even though he sacrificed a bunch of Lings, he did really enough damage, and thinning up those Marine numbers definitely is going to help his cause. Taking a look, and again, we are seeing, as expected, Speedling, Baneling, Muta from Horror here. He is also coming out with a hatchery, so going to be a macro hatch over there. And yeah, pretty awesome. Back over here, Hellions still trying to work on that frontal spotting, just to see if Horror pushes out from this position. Again, keep in mind, he does have that avenue, as we just saw as well. And we are going to see those Marines coming out. Stimpack research, as well as coming out here with the siege tech for those tanks. So will, of course, be Marine tank from SjoW. Should be throwing in some medevacs shortly as well. Double engineering bays up now. We'll be churning out those upgrades. And in just one moment, we will be seeing those Mutas. We're going to see right now, pulling up the resources as Horror is getting ready to dump them into Mutalists. And here it goes. Should be getting at least 8 Mutas, maybe even 9. Looks like he decided to stop at 8. So 8 Mutalists coming on through. Probably preparing for an expansion as well, working his way up now to 10 Mutalists. And he will be pushing out with those very shortly, so SjoW is going to have to make sure he's prepared. And look at that timing, absolutely impeccable. Just as Mutas are about to hit, we have got 2 turrets coming out over here. We'd like to see at least 1 or possibly even 2 turrets over here at this expansion as well, as SjoW will likely need that defense. Marines moving down with a siege tank as he is prepared now to drop his 3rd base. He worked on heavily saturating that main and the natural before actually lifting off that orbital and drop it off. I mean, we saw that orbital building quite a while ago, and he is just now bringing it down. Here come those Mutas. Hellions able to scout that out, so at least he knows it's coming now. Is he going to be getting any additional turrets as a result? No, keeping a couple of Marines in the main. Speedlings trying to chase down those Hellions, but here come the Mutas. Mutas now moving into the main, going to be doing what they can for damage. Marines plus a turret, big danger there for those Mutalists. Going to be forcing them back, trying to engage medevac. However, Marines coming down to assist. Nice creep spread over here for Horror. This is going to delay this expansion by quite a bit. How frustrating this must be right now for SjoW, as he's not able to drop that command center at the moment. Very nice picking off. I believe that was a siege tank over there. So he was able to pick off a siege tank in the middle of the map. Kill off a few SCVs as well. Muta's doing a bunch of damage, but here come the Stim Marines. We'll be forcing those Mutas back now. SjoW no dropping or anything like that. He's just trying to contend with this Muta harass. He does have enough Marines just to make sure that he's going to protect things like that. I don't know why he didn't pull down in time to prevent himself from losing that. Quite unfortunate indeed. So SjoW will be trying to spread out those Marines and making sure that he can defend all possible positions. Also coming down with additional turrets wouldn't hurt, as we are seeing 1 turret completing right over here. And SjoW is now set up and going to be able to start mining from that 3rd right away. Zerglings fanning out. We'll be grabbing the tower over here, also checking for expansions, probably also checking for some drops, and that the Overlords will assist with that as well. 4th base coming out here for Horror is already working on saturating that 3rd. Continuing up those Muta numbers at the moment, sitting on 15 Mutalists. He does have some idle ones over here, not joining the bulk of the army, and that's quite unfortunate to see indeed. Stim Marines catching the Mutas out of position. Horror not paying attention, taking a bit of damage, and he turned to engage, I think, a bit too early. But now he will be able to overwhelm those Marines and drop that medevac with those Mutas, trying to drop them one at a time. Not enough, though. See you later. Tank sieging up, gonna lay down some splash damage, killing off a few Lings there. However, the Mutas come down to engage with that, and this is not gonna be good here for Horror. Just too many stimmed up Marines. The Zerglings get shredded, Mutas forced back. More and more Mutas coming out, some upgrades coming on through as well. Level 2 melee attacks as well as level 2 flyer attacks for Horror. In addition to that, we can see over here, SjoW is 1-1, working up to 2-2. Also, the vehicle level 1 upgrades are coming through. Gonna obviously be a good idea. Marines fanning out over here, catching a tank out of position, and again another free tank kill for Horror. Gotta love it, huh? Really not the greatest thing there for SjoW at all when he gets caught out of position in the center of the map with no Marine defense. Those tanks cannot be left alone for that very reason, especially when Mutas are in play, and you know that your opponent's going Mutas heavy. Make sure you protect those tanks at all times that they are in transit with Mutalus. I'm sorry, with Marines to protect them against Mutalus. Oh, how silly indeed. And another expansion coming up for SjoW as he is preparing to get a 4th base. He has been very aggressive with these expos and still just sticking Marine tank heavy, although he is starting to transition into Thors to try to help against those Muta numbers. Upgrades finally coming out for those Banelings and the centrifugal hooks, quite clearly making them a little bit speedier and allowing them to catch up to those Marines much better. Stimmed up Marines, catching some Mutas, and then forcing them back. Oh no, taking so much damage as these Mutas, unfortunately, not going in the best route. They are meeting up with some Lings. I don't think they're enough though. Just be careful, as those reinforcement Marines would have torn right through that, so Horror pushed back just in the nick of time. And another expansion also coming out for Horror, so just mass expos here from both players so far this game. And really not a ton of aggression. We saw that Spieling attack, but after that, we've just been seeing some Muta poking and prodding. And all SjoW is really focused on right now is defending himself. Now, he is capped at 200, so we will likely see him push out pretty soon. He just wants to make sure he's got a nice, secure economy, and he can defend these bases, and then we should be seeing that big push. And as we can see, Horror still just a little bit shy of supply cap, trying to buy some time with the Muta harass. However, here it comes. Looks like SjoW is ready to push as he's breaking down these destructible debris, allowing him to continue up with reinforcements there to push on Horror much more easily. And Muta's in the main. He'll be taking out these missile turrets, and then we'll start working on the SCVs as well as those production buildings at the exact same time. Here comes a push. Tanks sieging up. Banelings getting caught out of position. Spielings and Banelings trying to push forward. Not the best of spots, though. Muta's deciding I should probably pull back right now as Horror was forced to cancel this expansion. He's been a little bit indecisive, moving back and forth here with those Mutas. He is now back in the main. And the siege line here for SjoW standing strong. Some stimmed up Marines will be pushing on this expansion, killing off a Queen there in the center and making that slow, methodical push towards Horror's base. But at the same time, do keep in mind these Mutas are doing a ton of damage. We take a look at the resources lost, and Horror is a little bit behind. We're about to see that expansion get dropped though, and all the Marines over here taken out before they can do too much damage. SjoW getting ready to continue to push. Muta's pulling out of the main, some more Marines and a Thor moving up here. That's really scary for those Marines. Oh, there are a lot of Banelings over there. He best be careful. Marines stimming up, going forward. He snipes the Expo, but here come, oh my gosh, Banelings and Spielings trying to push forward, but no. Unfortunately, those Marines pulling back to the safety of that tank line. We also got a drop coming down over here. That gets overwhelmed momentarily. And Horror is in a tough bind as this slow push here from SjoW continues to prove to be difficult, but Banelings come from the top side and overwhelming the Marines plus that tank line. Muta is also pulling forward. These tanks are not going to be doing too well here as the Muta numbers are enough to tear through them so very quickly. Even just a few Marines, not enough of a threat over here. All of a sudden, SjoW just lost his entire force. Now, does he have anything else going on? We do have a medevac over here. That's not doing a lot. And that is basically it. Very nice by Horror. Unfortunately, though, let us not forget the fact that Horror did lose this expansion as well as this one. So he is now in the position of being forced to rebuild that. As SjoW continues to work up his army, he does have a strong economy. Take a look there. Does have any advantage in terms of minerals. He is behind in gas, but he's also not trying to mine as much gas as he is sitting pretty Marine heavy. Look at all those Marines coming out. We even have a couple of racks here in the center of the map just to produce Marines a little bit closer to that front line. Spieling's fanning out. He is checking for an expo over here. There is nothing at the moment, but SjoW is preparing to lay down another expansion. These could also be stationary planetary fortress defenses. At least one of them may be. So we'll have to see what he decides to do with those two once that's finished. Right now moving back into the main though, at least trying to, but a turret is enough to deter him. And Marines again tearing through the Mutas. Horror getting just laced up, accidentally walking by Marines. It's happened a couple of times this game. It's very, very unfortunate to see, to be quite frank with you. And yeah, just nothing else going on right now for Horror. He is once more just trying to work up to get those additional expansions up. Keep in mind, we do have Hive Tech coming on through here for Horror. It's also coming out with some of those infestors, so we'll finally be able to lay down some fungal growths on those heavy Marine numbers, allowing those Banelings to actually catch up and do the damage they need to. And here comes another push from SjoW. He's preparing to move. Tanks caught a little bit out of position, and the Spielings and Banelings able to engulf the front of that force. And nice fungal growth, however, not enough damage, as there are still a ton of Marines left. A couple of Banelings could destroy that. Another fungal would be nice. There we go. I'm going to kill off a couple of those Marines. We got a lot of Marines in the red, the rest in the yellow. And some more fungals get laid down. It's going to be pretty close. No, the Marines are still alive. That combat shield giving them that extra health that is necessary. And these Marines are doing so much damage. The expansion gets dropped again. How unfortunate for Horror. And SjoW proven to be pretty dominant right now. He's doing a phenomenal job. We got more Spielings and Banelings coming through. A couple more Infestors as well. No counter-aggression going on at all for Horror right now, as he is too busy focusing on this heavy Marine line over here. We got a couple of tanks in the mix, but really just sitting very, very Marine heavy is what we're seeing here from SjoW. Now keep in mind, with some good spread and good micro, you're able to stay away from a lot of that damage from the Banelings and the fungal growth, and that's exactly what SjoW has been doing so far this game. Muta numbers really small at the moment, only 12. We do have an Ultralist transition prepared here for Horror. Some more stimmed up Marines right now, going to be trying to take out that expansion. Looks like they'll get it. And we are seeing Horror try to take out the force, but no, unable to, and calling the GG. Playing Marine heavy with some tank and medevac support, SjoW was able to stay mobile and very aggressive as he continuously knocked out Horror's expansions. And although he got caught a little bit out of position here, he had just enough forces with all those reinforcement Marines to tear through the rest of the Spielings and Banelings. And obviously those Mutas weren't much of a threat. This allowed SjoW to drop out the expansion again and secure the victory. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this game here between SjoW and Horror. That's going to do it. As always, if you like it, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.